I'm Molly Murphy Adams. I'm originally from Missoula, Montana, and just recently relocated to Tulsa. And I'm here today to demonstrate beadwork techniques and my methods for creating fiber art pieces. I've been a professional artist for 8 years now. I started exhibiting and having pieces touring when I was still a senior in the BFA program at the University of Montana. And I graduated from there in 2004. I think the first time that I received an announcement in the mail for a group show that I was a part of that had my name listed with all these other artists that were coming in, that's when I knew that it was really possible to do this professionally, and not just on a scale of coffee house exhibits and stuff, but to do it in a museum setting, in a gallery setting. The high point of my professional career has probably been the solo show that I had at the Missoula Art Museum. And it was a big risk that the museum had, taking someone that was really pretty unknown at the time and giving me a solo show. And I thought that I was getting a corner or a nook in this one small upstairs room, and instead the curator and I walked out and it was huge. It was this massive space, like echo, hello. And I looked at him and I thought, I said, you know how small beads are, right? And I said, I'm not really sure I know what to do with this huge gallery and just me. We're going to have a lot of white space between the pictures. But what it did is it challenged me to do really contemporary pieces, think big in terms of installation, and to have an opportunity where everybody from my community came and saw what I did and what I was capable of doing. Because before that, most of my work was selling and being exhibited out of state. So I would come home and tell people this is what I was doing. But I got to have elders from my community came that night and saw it, and my family and my friends got to see it, and it was just this really, huge moment to have everybody there. Actually, I'm trying to find a way to balance traditional needlework techniques of a lot of different cultures that are in my background, of embroidery and quilting and the frugality of materials, and with native beadwork, and to use that to tell stories that otherwise might not get told, and to be able to do something that, for me, it was about finding a way to be really authentic. And my background is so mixed and varied that it was really hard to find one way that would be authentic. And there weren't the traditional medias that were being taught at college didn't seem to really provide an avenue. So I had to mix elements from sculpture and even ceramics and fiber art and painting and drawing and bring all that together in a way that ended up being pretty unique. It is hard to sort of try to say what to say to a younger generation, because hopefully I'm still young enough to where I shouldn't be telling anybody anything. But I would, when I see younger Native artists in school and breaking into the marketplace, everybody seems to be struggling with the same question of authenticity. And who are you being authentic to? What are you being authentic to? And I think that if you're trying to be authentic to anything other than your own background and your own ambitions, that there's going to be a note of falseness in there. And that advice that I received from an artist when I was still in school was that no matter how compulsive or odd or unmarketable your ideas seem, that you have to keep pursuing them farther and farther and farther down the road, and eventually you're going to get to this point where you have it really distilled to exactly what you do. And that doesn't mean you can't change it, but you have to keep distilling it and keep distilling it, and then you'll find this nugget of what's really authentic about what you do. And then until you get to that point, you're still doing what other people do and reflecting their ambitions and their agendas. It did, and it was really inspiring to kind of have permission to do that, because I was trying to paint and I was trying to do ceramics. I was trying to do all these other things that everybody else did and that everybody was teaching me. And I had to kind of go off in a crazy direction and just say, I'm going to do beadwork. As absurd as doing needlework for a profession sounds, that's what I know and that's what I really love to do. So I have to find a way to take all of this education and background and distill it through that process, and not even do beadwork the way I was taught to do it or the way I was expected to do it or the way people decided it was pretty, but to use that as the way that I was going to get to what I know and what I do.